All right, and you are?
Oh, Leslie from the Concord Food Co-op.
Leslie's like the one that says, "Here, look at this, look at this."
Yes.
What do we do?
This month actually,
this
right.
year.
Yeah, this year month is in line with our topic today, which is essentially getting in shape and those New Year's resolutions. And so I have some nice food options that taste good and are healthy that I'll be demoing this month.
Like?
Oh, well, a lot of granolas that we have are actually sort of in the paleo path. I know some people follow that. We have some keto-friendly products. Believe it or not, like some jerkies, some meat jerkies are kind of popular. So
is it local stuff?
That is not specifically, but the granola, we have like a whole line of paleo-friendly granolas from Maple Nut Kitchen, which is in New Hampshire.
I was last month. I was in New Mexico, and they were making local elk jerky. Whoa, stuff was great. Pricey, but it was good.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So we have that to look forward to.
Yes.
At the cash register?
Yes, the rounded up at the register. We set a record in December, $6,029 for the Pope Memorial SPCA. Yes.
Wow.
So I think our grand total, $31,495 for last year that was raised by our customers.
And we only did a few months.
Yeah, April, I think, was our first month. So April or May.
I thought we started later. Yeah. Okay.
That's maybe.
Wow. So we can go a lot higher than that this year.
Yes.
All right. And who is it this month?
It is NAMI.
That's right.
Yep.
National Alliance for the Mentally Ill.
Yes.
Mental Illness.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah, there you go. All right. And you brought with you today?
Yes, we have two new guests.
Wow.
So,
welcome, guys.
Vince and Japhet. Both of them have some interesting specialties, which I'm sure I'll let you take it away
Vince
since
Martino,
you have their bios.
Yes, sir.
Lifelong martial artist, bodywork therapist from New Hampshire, runs a small clinic in Concord treating orthopedic injuries. Wow, there's a skill set. Also provides private instruction in traditional martial arts for individuals seeking growth and transformation. You can reach Vince by texting info to 321-5550 or email nhbodymechanic@gmail.com. Welcome, Vince.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here.
Yeah, good to be here.
Treating orthopedic injuries. Wow.
Yes.
That's because I know some of the crew over at like Concord Ortho. Mm-hmm. And so you get them after that?
Sort of. I mean, I work with usually just individuals in my clinic who either get in touch with me through word of mouth.
After they get out, then they come see you.
Yep. Yeah. After an injury or, I mean, if you were in a car accident, I work with a lot of martial artists just through practicing. If they get injured through training or something like that, they would come see me, get on the table, whether it's a, jammed hip or, they hurt their back or this time of year, it's a lot of snow shoveling injuries, actually. A lot of people who hurt themselves shoveling snow will come to the clinic.
This last one was classic because we had this, well, at least in my neck of the woods, we had the snow and sleet. I said, I'm not going to plow it because I don't want it to be a skating rink. So I'll let it sit. Bad move. Then the snow came on top of it. Then it pressed it on the driveway. And the shovel would stop. And I'm like, seriously? I'd take the plow. And the plow would hit it, then the plow would fall over. I'm like, oh, this is going to be ugly. This may be here till April. And I know somebody that did a slip and fall and did something to their back. They're going into the doctors, I think, today. So a lot of slip and falls.
Oh, yeah.
Ugly weather. Japhet Stevens? Japhet?
Yes, right.
Or Japhet?
It's like jacket, but Japhet.
Japhet Stevens, local keto coach. Works one-on-one, specializing in helping those with IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, and related symptoms. He can be found on social media at EatIfKeto.
Eat if keto.
Eat if keto. Oh, I like that.
That's a social media handle.
Got it. And online at eatifketo.com. Wow.
That's right.
How long have you been doing this?
Well, I actually just started about half a year ago with some of my friends, coaching them into keto, and then really fully launched professionally in November.
Now, irritable bowel syndrome, there's a subset. How did you end up there?
Well, it's kind of my story, really. It's how I got into keto. A lot of people get into keto for weight loss.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic for that, for sure. It's but it's also a kind of a general health move for a lot of people. It fixes a lot of different symptoms, and for me, that was the actual, like, the magic bullet for me was
Really?
keto. Yeah, I had some issues like 10 years ago that totally cleared up.
I've had a lot of friends who have had treatment-resistant issues that totally cleared up going keto. So that's really interesting.
Really?
That you do that. Oh, yeah.
No, see, I did. Okay, first of all, explain, how does one get irritable bowel syndrome?
There's actually no known cause. It's like, it's one of those things where there's no known cause, there's no known cure either. It's also a bit of a catch-all for a lot of similar symptoms where it is diagnosable, but it is it's kind of one of those vaguer diseases that isn't so clear as to the cause and to the solution.
But you can clear it up.
Well, if you look at the online for the medical diagnosis and definition, they say there's like no cure for it.
Really?
But it's treatable. Like, it's manageable. And I've found that keto is the best way to manage it.
So when treating it, is it a fat food issue? Is it? I mean, what don't you want to be feeding the IBS?
Yeah, well, for me, it was actually the carbs. When I was eating carbs, it was something that my gut at that time just couldn't handle, and that's
What are the manifestations when you say it can't handle? How does it react? I mean, are you throwing up? You're on the toilet all the. I mean, what gives?
Yeah, for me, it was there was a lot of abdominal cramping and either diarrhea or constipation, usually alternating between those two.
Oh, that's a fun way to spend your time.
Yeah, and then that would also result in a lot of fatigue. There was a lot of like complications with like just being fatigued and depressed and like just no energy for anything. And keto really smoothed that out for me. And it's important, I guess, to say here that I'm not proposing that I can cure IBS with keto. That's not what I'm trying to do.
Right.
But it is. I think the diet.
We weren't hanging that shingle on you, so that's okay.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people that I run into in the co-op are a little confused about keto and what it is and why so many people are following it. I mean, obviously, you have a great reason that was super helpful and, to your point, for weight loss. But just it's probably hard to just give a short description of what keto is for anyone that doesn't know.
No problem. Take your time.
But I think a lot of people have been curious and they've been asking me, and I'm not certainly qualified to give a definition.
Yeah, you keep seeing stuff in the media. Keto diet. What is that?
It is pretty popular.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's definitely a trend, and it's just getting bigger, I think. It's generally, I would say that the general reason to get on keto is if you are not handling carbs very well.
So is it just a carb-free diet? I mean, is it similar to what I remember as the Atkins diet?
It's similar.
Way back when.
It is similar, right? Keto is, well, there's been like a focus on high fat with keto. And then recently the keto trend has been, okay, don't focus so much on eating all the fat you can. It's more about, let's lower the carbs. Let's really like treat this by lowering the carbs. And that there are a variety of reasons why people might be intolerant to carbs. Mm-hmm. One of them is that they're just getting overweight and they need to cut back. That's one.
Carbs being more than just what I think of as bread. I mean, you're
say,
talking sugar.
Give me some carbs.
Yeah.
Give me the big offenders.
Oh, bread, flour, sugar. Sugar's actually the biggest one. Sugar, flour, especially refined flour, pasta, rice, all the grains.
Is there a benefit to just cutting some? So for someone, this month people are feeling like, oh, I need to change something. I don't know what it is. I don't feel great after the holidays. Can you just cut out some carbs? Will you see if someone isn't willing to go full keto at this point?
Yeah, I'd say sugar is the biggest one. If you can cut out sugar, that's the.
But there's sugar in everything.
Yes, that's the issue.
That's the problem.
Right, you got to be.
But part of the problem
labels.
is adding sugar to stuff that already has sugar into it. Some people do that as well.
True.
But yeah, if you could knock out the pasta, still have rice, but knock off pasta, at least you've made a step.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And natural sugars like fruits and things. I know sometimes people sort of try to replace, refined sugar with fruits. Keto-wise, I'm not sure how that works, but I think in general, that's a small step towards making an improvement.
Fruit is definitely a lot better. It has the fiber with that. My protocol is when it comes to fruit is just berries. That would be the only fruit. Well, unless
Really?
you count avocado, which is technically a fruit.
Yep.
Just berries.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Apples, oranges, pears, peaches.
Those tend to be too carby for
Really?
for trying to get. The idea is you're trying to get yourself adapted to fat burning, and if you're eating apples, for example, that's going to knock you right out of that. It's going to trigger your insulin, which is going to block fat burning.
Wow, all of a sudden.
Yeah,
I'm
and
bummed.
I understand watermelon's one of the worst ones.
Yeah, that's not a good one either.
Yeah, so I've been told.
Okay.
Now, tell me, what does keto stand for, or what does it mean?
It's ketogenic, so it means that your body is creating ketones using the fat in either your adipose tissue or the dietary fat that you're eating.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's an alternative to carbs, basically. If you're eating carbohydrates,
Gotcha.
then that's one fuel source, and then ketones is another.
Vince, are you doing anything with keto? Does that?
Well, I had a friend who they had a really hard time losing weight. They had been overweight for a while, and it's kind of funny. I think it was their New Year's resolution, which is kind of what we're talking about today, was to lose some weight. And they had heard about the keto diet, and one of the reasons why they were having so much trouble losing weight was because they had a high carb diet, and they ate a lot of pasta, they ate a lot of rice, and that kind of thing. So once they went keto, so to speak, they just started eating a high fat diet. Their body started burning more fat, and so when they went to the gym and they were lifting weights, it was, it just melted right off, and they lost. I think it was, I don't know what the rate was, but it was a pretty high rate of weight loss, like 3 pounds a week or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
We got to take a break. I know we're running on. I got to ask. I knew you were coming in, so I planned on this. Steven Seagal, Chuck Norris, who wins?
Oh, Chuck Norris.
Ah, my man.
Yeah.
You can come back. We're taking a break. Back with more right after this. Welcome back. Concord Food Co-op. It is Friday. Leslie's in the house today. Thank you. It's nice seeing you.
It's lovely to be here.
Let me, before we move on and talk about resolutions, Vince, you, lifelong martial artist, you provide private instruction in traditional martial arts for individuals. Why? Why do they come to you? A, I want to beat up somebody, or I want it for personal growth and for me.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of reasons
Are
that
there?
people want to learn martial arts. One of them was probably the most common. People want to learn self-defense. They want to get rough and tumble to protect
Really?
themselves against something. I think a lot of younger people.
Yeah,
That's kind of how I got into it when I was like 12, 13, just young kid, kind of small, being bullied. I wanted to be able to defend myself. So,
Did it work?
I mean, you win some, you lose some.
That's pretty much like life. But how about the growth aspects of it? Not the okay, if somebody's going to try and take me on, I'll fight. Not that, but the other part.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is, I think, we're talking about New Year's resolutions and, bettering yourself and changing yourself. I think it's a great way to change yourself as far as getting stronger, getting more fit, and also just being more disciplined. That's one of the hardest things for me, is just being disciplined about stuff. And it's really easy to get motivated usually to pump yourself up, but that usually lasts, 3 or 4 days, and then you're back on the sugar, or you're back on, not working out, or whatever your program is. One of the things that I used to do is just keep a notebook, and every time that I would do my workout, I would sign my name, and then I would write the date, and then I knew, okay, I trained that day, and it would kind of hold myself accountable for it. Kind of back to your point, like, why do people get into it? And I think it's like, you gain a certain level of confidence when you can stay consistent in something and be disciplined and see that, oh, wow, I did my workout 5 days in a row this week. That's great.
So like a dietary change, this is a commitment as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And I think that's, for me, as I got older, that was more, I kind of moved away from wanting to do martial arts for self-defense and more for that growth and transformation, kind of like just to push myself, to challenge myself, and in ways that I felt like, you can't really get in general day-to-day life. People kind of fall into the daily grind. You get up, you go to work, you come home, you make dinner. But when you have a martial arts practice, at least for me, it, you feel yourself getting stronger. You feel yourself focusing on something and getting better at something.
Is it
feeling
easier
that improvement.
to make that commitment when you get older?
I don't know.
Mentally,
It's like-
for people?
I mean, I started the traditional arts when I was about 19, 20 years old. So that was about 10 years ago now. So
I was going to ask, actually, because I think for exercise classes or however training as it goes, martial arts can be kind of intimidating for adults. I think they feel like, oh, I'm going to feel silly. This is from personal. I was lucky my YMCA had a beginner class, so I could try it, and that was perfect. But the idea of sort of stepping into a class and being a beginner is so intimidating, for an adult. I don't know if you have experience or advice on how to try it.
I mean, I do a lot of one-on-one instruction with. I only have a couple of students right now that I train with, but I'm not super into big classes because I think it's better for people to get focused attention one-on-one as far as correcting your technique or just getting that one-on-one attention. That's kind of how I was trained, and I find that it's super effective for people. Or like a small class, maybe 2 or 3 people. Then you don't have someone in the corner,
To me, it's like contact Tai Chi, I mean, because you're stretching, you're doing the repetitive, except this one you can clock somebody. But I mean, it's the same. You're getting the stretching, you're getting the motion, the routine.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, traditional martial arts provide a lot of tendon strength, or development for tendon strength. Mobility is a big thing that I
see. You thought I was kidding?
Yeah.
Well, which helps. We were just talking about shoveling. All of this and the stretching and the.
As far as a workout program, I think martial arts are great because of the, especially traditional martial arts, the mobility aspect of it. I mean, squatting, bending, jumping, spinning, all of these natural body movements that we, maybe we do as kids.
Have gotten away from.
We get away from as we get older.
And when you say traditional martial arts, I guess, that's versus like MMA.
Versus like an MMA school, or you might see.
So were you Taekwondo, or what were you?
I do traditional Chinese martial arts.
Oh, okay.
Kung Fu is what you would refer to it as, but it's a great system. It's it's a very natural way of moving. That's what kind of drew me to Chinese martial arts. There's not a lot of hard impact on the shin bones and some of these. You're not getting punched in the head repeatedly for weeks and months on end. So as opposed to other martial arts.
So. That sounds much more appealing.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think it's great because I feel like we have, if listeners are trying to figure out something to start with this month, it could be either movement or a diet shift
movement or
both.
But
I think it's having two different sort of perspectives.
We have the keto expert here. I think.
Japhet, diet. I mean, give me a recommendation for 2020. Number one.
Well, number one is that one-on-one that you mentioned. That is, I think, the one of the best ways to get into something is to find a coach, find somebody who can work with you one-on-one.
That's less intimidating, isn't it? To have somebody, just me and you, as opposed to 6 people, and I'm worried that I'm looking like hell in front of you, and
I can't break the bricks in half.
Well, that's the peer. I don't think that's a concern, but I think that's the peer pressure, whether real or imagined, it can be a detriment.
Yeah.
And is it like I don't know, other therapists where you guys can chat first and make sure that it's a good fit before you kind of commit? Is it sort of that how that works?
Yeah, I mean, I usually sit down and have a cup of coffee with all of my new clients or my new students, just to sit down, just hey, what kind of goals do you have? What can I help you achieve? How can I serve you better?
Wow. Vince Martino,
consultation. Yes.
Japhet Stevens, Keto Coach, Vince Martino, lifelong martial artist, bodyworks therapist. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
gave us some ideas. Leslie, nice job.
Oh, thanks.
Yes, Greg, we missed you. There you go.
If you're in the mood for real food, it's Concord Food Co-op.